Well, hello, Community Baptist Church family and all those out there in this world. This is your friend Pastor Joe Jackson, Associate Pastor of the Community Baptist Church. This is my adorable, beautiful, wonderful, sweet, amazing wife, Kyla Jackson. I have said this before and I'll say it again. The best part of me is obviously her. I do not understand why she married me. I do know that God was wonderful blessings that he let me have her. I still am trying to figure out what she did wrong to be punished with me, but I am grateful to have her. And I was talking with her earlier in this week as we're having a lot of people ask us questions on, my kids are home from school, they're stuck, they don't have their schoolwork, maybe they don't have all their paperwork. What do you do? We homeschool our kids. We have 3 kids under the age of 6, 4, and 2. And we homeschool our kids, and every day we try our best to keep those kids going. It's not perfect. If you talk to me and Kyla, often we'll tell you it's far from that. But our kids are not bouncing off the walls, and they actually, if you've been around them, they are as normal as they can be for being my children. They take more after my wife, thankfully. And I think that's because of some of the steps my wife has put in, some things she's learned from her mom and from other people. And so we thought we'd just do kind of a quick interview. When I say quick as we can be. And so I thought, my wife, I said, what's some things that you do? And what's the first thing you told me when we were talking earlier? What's one of the first things you do that you say helps the kids out?
Well, I would say the first thing that we do with the kids in the morning, or what I do with the kids in the morning, is I get out my Bible and we do kids' Bible time in the morning. And just to get them going in the day and to think of, what we should do first in the day. I always get up first, and just like my husband, Pastor Joe, gets up and we do our devotions every day, and our kids see that. And not just me, but Pastor Joe and I are trying to get that ingrained into our kids, that when they first get up in the morning, that they need to do Bible time. So I sit down and I read the Bible, and one of the verses I turn to is my life verse, which is Proverbs 16:20. And it says, "He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he." And then I explain the verse to him and let him know that if we handle things in the correct way, then everything will fall into place, and we'll find good in that. And when we trust in the Lord, we'll be happy throughout the day. And and I think that goes along with doing our devotions every morning, because when we find, help in the Lord to help us throughout the day, then that makes our day much more put together.
Yes.
So.
And we do devotions together every night as a family. And we'll do a Bible lesson or a story. But my wife, I've often seen her, she'll do during her devotions, one of the kids will come. My wife sits in this room. This is what we call our fireplace room of our house. My wife will sit in one of the chairs in here. She'll be doing devotions. One of the kids will come over. They'll ask what she's talking about. She'll just kind of give them a little thought for the day. And then I'll often hear her walk through the house, and she'll be talking to them, and she'll say, "What does the Bible say about that type of attitude?" And she'll quote a verse to them and then try to teach it to them, because this is the training that we get to do with kids. This is how we can help them have some parts that will help them. And then for the structure of the day, that starts them off. And then for the structure during the day, we do a lot of different things. We homeschool our kids, so they have a set structure. I think one of the parts that really is making some kids struggle right now is not having a set structure. So if you can set a structure where between every hour they're doing something, this gives them a rotation just like they're at school, and they can help them do some things. So maybe go get out an old math book or some math problems or some reading. I know after school's done in our family, we'll actually rephrase that. Before school even starts, we have breakfast, we have prayer time. Our kids turn on music. Each kid gets to pick a different song to play for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then before they can even start school, we have chores, this is something I would definitely throw in. My wife has really helped our kids with. Each kid has a chore chart. Do you want to talk a little bit about the chore charts that we have for them? I think we just brought up Stevens, this way we wouldn't have overflow of it. But kind of walk them through their chore charts.
Okay, so each kid, with their age, they have different chores that they need to do throughout the day. And I only brought out Stevens, just like my husband, Pastor Joe, said. And this is a magnetic board, which Stephen loves doing this. And he actually gets to mark off each chore that he does throughout the day. And he has a set time that in the morning that he has to do. If he gets them all done, or mostly all done, in the morning, then he can go and play after school gets done. So like for instance, the first 5, he has sweep the floor, set and clear table, clean bedroom, and empty trash. Now we all know we can't just keep the table set all day because it's just going to be it's just
not
gonna,
with kids, not with 3 kids.
Especially with 2-year-olds and younger, so it'll just be a mess on the floor. So he can't really do that. He'll set it before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, then he'll clear it off. And then, which he likes doing that chore, but it's not his favorite chore to do.
Yes.
And I will tell you, I don't know really which chore his favorite one is, but
I think it would have to be, if I had to pick one, I would say I think it's empty trash, because he loves taking the garbage bag and flipping it in the air.
So, and then he has 4 other ones that he does, and it's pick up toys, get dressed, make bed, and vacuum. Now the first, you're thinking, why so many chores? Well, the first 5 are ones that we pay him for.
And this, by the way, if you want to find a chore chart like this, this comes from Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace Jr. This is where we found this chore chart. Eli has a different chore chart. Gloria has a different chore chart. There aren't those. This is because Stephen now turned 6. Yep. We thought this would be the best way to help Stephen learn some of these different chores. So the first 5 chores, my wife said he gets paid $1 per chore if he does every chore for the whole week. And then what about the bottom 4 chores? What about those?
The bottom 4 chores are chores that he has to do just because he lives here. I mean, yes, all of them are just because he lives here. That's part of growing up and living in a house. But the bottom 4 are 4 that he has to do every day, no matter what.
And all 3 children, yeah, we don't have 4. But let's thank Lord for that. All 3 of our children have to do all 4 of those chores themselves. So each one of them picks up their toys, each one of them has to get dressed, each one of them has to make their bed, each one has to vacuum. Now, Glory doesn't make her bed in the same way that Steven does, but she does vacuum, I will say this, better than any of the other siblings.
And she actually fights over the vacuum when it's vacuum time.
Yes,
so I have
she loves that.
Kind of work on that, but it's fine because she loves doing it, and as long as your kids love doing a certain chore, it gets done. So I don't, there's not really a big issue there because it gets done. So
and if they finish all the chores in our house, we have things that we do. Now, I'm gonna say this, we're not the biggest fan of what we call tablet raising of children, or letting your children be raised by things. But we're not necessarily opposed to tablets. In fact, each one of our kids, we bought them one of these. These are called Amazon Free Time tablets. If you were going to get a tablet for your kid, this is the one I'd recommend. It's rather inexpensive. There's an app on it that you can pay for. It allows age-appropriate games for the kids, no advertisements that are inappropriate. We've had these for years. If a kid breaks them, you call up Amazon. I think it's like 2-year warranty on them. They replace the whole tablet. You can put some really great, you can put books on there, so each one of our kids have to read so many books out of the tablet before they can do it. But why I like it the most is it has a timer limit. So we control what time of the day it can turn on, what time of the day it can shut off, how much they can play on it, how long they can play on it, and then my wife and I control that by how well they do their chores, how their attitude's doing that day. For instance, it was a couple weeks ago, one of our kids was sick with like the flu bug when it was back in like December, and we were able to say, okay, we're gonna let you watch some old Disney movies a little bit longer than we would today, and that allows for easy accessibility for them to be able to play these things. But these things, I think, they should be little helpers. They really shouldn't be, your kids shouldn't be on these things for hours. And I think that's one of our biggest concerns right now is we're seeing a lot of kids, from I'm talking to parents, who are talking, oh yeah, my kid did 8 hours on the tablet yesterday. Well, this wasn't meant to raise our children. Yeah. This is meant to be a blessing. And you could replace this with a television. You could replace this with a video game system, any one of those things. Really, this is just supposed to be a side thing. So we thought we'd throw some other things that we use. One of my favorites is these right here. And I'll let my wife talk about the books in a second. I love these right here. These are Patch the Pirate CDs. And maybe you've never heard of Patch the Pirate before. Patch the Pirate is awesome. Ron Hamilton has been doing these for, I think it's 40 years now. And in fact, this is a cassette from my childhood. And some of you who are watching this, I know you probably have some of these cassettes sitting in your basement right now. We found these. I had these. I took these off to college with me. And I love these things so much. The songs are great. And they're just little, I guess you could say, like little stories about Patch and his crew going off and making great adventures and helping people. Right now I know they have what they're called a stuck-at-home sale, a quarantine sale, and you can buy, actually you can buy this tape right now in a CD or in a digital download, and you can listen to it. My kids love Kilimanjaro, and they're just little stories about, Patch and his crew learning a lesson, the fruit of the Spirit, how to trust God, and they have these great songs. I'd encourage you, pick these up. This is a great thing to play. Our kids right now are resting in the other room, and they're listening to these. And they enjoy it, they listen to it, and they're as excited as can be. Every night they listen to them. I grew up listening to them. I know my wife said she grew up listening to them. Now, you were telling me as a child, you listened to, was it Adventures in Odyssey, I think?
Yeah, Adventures in Odyssey. It was like, other than Patch the Pirate, we listened to Adventures in Odyssey, and that was fun. That used to be over the radio. I don't think it's over the radio anymore.
Right now it's online. In fact, they just offered a 4-week free trial with no cost for people.
Wow.
So if you want to do that, I mean, these are some great things that they have Christian dynamics behind them. They're going to teach them Bible thoughts, Bible characters, Bible lessons, and they're just great. I know our kids really love on like Prime Video. They have Superbook. If you've never watched that, it's a great film story about kids being adventurous and going back and seeing stories in the Bible. Those are some great little things. If you're going to do some digital stuff, that's great. But I know my wife, she loves these things. And our kids, if you ever know them, they love to do the kids' stories. So I'll let you talk a little bit about books, honey.
Yeah, well, our 3 kids love reading books. And they did not get that from me. They got it from Pastor Joe, because growing up, I could care less about books. But one of their favorite books, or I should say my favorite book to read to them is Paddington, because this was one of the books that I grew up reading.
Yep.
Another good book, I mean, there's a lot of good kid books out there, but another good book is Corduroy.
Yep, Corduroy, beautiful book.
Corduroy, and it's such a cute book. They actually have, I think, Patch the Pirate coloring books. I mean, that's another book I'll get to later. You could do coloring books with them, but this is one of them. I mean, they have great pictures, colored pictures and sketches and stuff. And I think if you don't have it, get it, because it's a really, really good book.
Yeah, and right now, like on Amazon, you can pick all these up. They're really inexpensive.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about earlier. I looked it up. A lot of these books you can now get in like what's it called? Digital. So you don't even have to have the physical book. You can pull it up on a tablet. And as I say, for like our kids, they have to read so many books a day to be able to play any games or watch any videos. And this just encouraged them to read.
Excuse me, just for that, reading. Growing up, just a quick little story. And I'm sure Pastor Joe's mom would do the same thing in the summertime. They would have at the library, which I know the libraries are open.
All
right
libraries
now,
are closed right now.
Growing up in the summertime, and I hated this, but I'm trying to get my kids to like it. But the reading program at the libraries, you could set your own up at home even now, while you're on this quarantine away from school. During the afternoon, maybe just sit down. You have to read 10 minutes. Try and get through so many books or whatever in an hour. Just do stuff like that, because then that gives them a goal. If you have like an incentive for them to, hey, if you read so many books in an hour, then you can do this. Or you can get this prize. I know that's what we do with our kids, just to try and get them to do stuff like that, because it's important to read.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, my mom made it a rule we had to read so many books per week. At one point, it was up to 4 books a week. If my brother and I wanted to play any video games the next week, because we were only allowed to play video games like 30 minutes or an hour total a day. But that was our rule, and so that's where I learned to read, like the Hardy Boys, and then Sherlock Holmes. My mom picked me up Sherlock Holmes, the complete volume, like the 1,200-page book, when I was like 14 years old, and I had to read that book in a week.
Where is that now?
Yeah, I know. And those books are great, and those are great things you can have for kids. And you say, well, I don't have those. Like a lot of them are their digital downloads. You can find them online. Amazon has a lot of them just for free that you could pick up. Highly recommend them. This is something that my wife got my son started on, Stephen, on just getting plain loose leaf paper and coloring. I love coloring in these type of things like this when I was a kid. And they're blank pages, and it uses their creativity that they have to create some. So you tell them, I'd like to see a pirate battle. I'd like to see flowers in the sun. Those are some things like that. We also have over here some just general coloring books. These ones, I know we got these ones online from Amazon. a couple weeks back, and I just looked yesterday. They're online right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get 12 of these for I think $7. And they're just great. 're here in 2 days. Your kids can play with them. And these are for, I know, these are young. These are for some younger kids. I know my wife, I forgot to grab it earlier. We were getting ready for this. My wife has a actual teenager coloring books that we have, which they use colored pencils. A lot of our teens in the church love it. They've used it for years. I highly recommend looking into some of those things. Coloring, it's a great skill. It can help them. I'll let my wife talk about the next skill, which is all about music and learning instruments. Kyla?
Well, for those of you who know Pastor Joe and I, we're both musical, and we grew up in a musical family. I know my husband plays the baritone.
Baritone. I'm terrible at the violin. I play a little bit of mandolin. I can play the kazoo. Amazing. You'd be amazed at the kazoo. I play the spoons on the cups. I broke a cup in front of the entire church once doing that. And I can play the fool pretty well too sometimes.
But he can sing really well. I play the clarinet, the piano. I'm learning how to play the mandolin,
Yep.
Which is an instrument I've always wanted to play. And I'm not saying go out there, grab an instrument, and start learning it right now, okay? But if you are musically talented, if you have a piano at home, if you have an instrument, dust it off,
Yep.
bring it out, have music time with your family, no matter the age. I know sometimes teenagers
Yep.
are like, I really don't want to do that. Well, you know what? Just for 30 minutes, sit down, let's sing. You know, growing up, I remember a couple times for devotions, every once in a while, we would have a singing devotional.
Yep.
And so we would pick our favorite song or our favorite junior church song, and we would sing it, and it would be so much fun. That was like my all-time favorite devotional that we did as a family. But my 6-year-old son is learning how to play piano, and they have these Patch the Pirate piano books out there. I mean, they're pretty. I mean, this one is a little tougher, but there's different levels of these. This is level 3, but there are different levels that you can get for your kid depending on how well they are at the piano, or if they're just learning how to play. They have the primary levels, which is what our son Steven is in right now, and he's playing All That I Need. He's playing
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
All the class. And this is what,
you know,
and this is what I'd say for you out there. May say, well, I can't get books. We have no money right now, or our job is left. YouTube. My wife right now does not have a single mandolin book, if I'm correct.
right? No.
She does not have a single thing for it. She is learning the entire mandolin from YouTube. And there's I think it's called Simple Mando or something like that. And it's this guy who just did, I think it's like 100 videos on how to learn the mandolin. So you could literally go without spending a penny. I know there's a piano, just like I think it's called Learning the Piano Basics 101. And literally you say, well, I have a little keyboard in the basement. Any of those things like that, if you have those, this is a great time to structure our children for things that last for forever. So many things that our kids, we put so much value in: basketball, football, but they can't do that right now.
No.
My wife and I were, I saw my wife the other day. I was driving, delivering some food to the needy in the area, and I drove past a basketball court, and there was like 10 teenagers playing basketball, and we said, like, they don't get this. This is not socialism. This is risking other people's health. And now our kids, they're still playing in the yard with just our own family. But there's so many things that we used to do that they just can't do right now. And so this gives them an opportunity to learn something that maybe they'll keep for a lifetime. I can still play the baritone. I haven't picked the baritone up in about 3 or 4 months. I could pick it up in the next few minutes. I can start playing it. I can play a little bit of the piano, and I learned that when I was a kid too. And those things that you can hold on to, they last so much longer. So if you need a book, you can pick them up online like these.
Yep, and then going back to you can find free sheet music on YouTube or Amazon.
Or just type in piano music, Amazing Grace, sheet music.
Yeah, you can find real basic, simple piano stuff, or if you have an instrument at home that you haven't picked up in forever, you can find instrumental music on the internet for cheap.
Or free.
You know, my husband and I, something happened with my clarinet, and we went and got it taken care of, and the guy was like, well, if you need to do this, if you're kind of like a beginner or haven't picked it up in forever and blah blah blah, then you need this. I'm thinking I'm more advanced than I think he thinks I am.
Mm-hmm.
But for years, but when Pastor Joe and I first got married, I never brought it out.
Your clarinet,
my clarinet, because I was just like, I don't think I'll be playing it here. Well, my mother-in-law dragged me up on the platform. It's like, you need to play. I know you play a clarinet. And so I was like, I haven't played in years. She goes, oh, I'm sure you'll remember. And sure enough, I remembered every note, mostly. But it's really simple. Just go online, find simple music, even if it's just simple hymn songs,
And let me say this right now for all those watching. If you know of a page that's a free page that has some, please post it below. We'll put up some that we like I talked about, that are just great ones. But maybe you know of a violin page that does free violin music or something like that. Or maybe some of these other things. Or maybe you sit there and go, you know what, I'm a senior citizen. I have an old instrument that I'm not using anymore, and I have no intention of using ever again. Well, maybe call up your grandkids and give it to your grandkids right now. Or that neighbor kid who's always doing nothing good. Give them something that they could do something valuable with their time. And the final thing we'll talk about, this is probably my favorite part of this thing, is games. I love games. I grew up loving all the games that I played as a child, and we've taught that same love to our children. So I recommend, don't have weekly game night, have every night be a game night. Right now, kids are scared. If any kid is any part of age enough to understand, they realize this has never happened to them before. Now, they were excited the first couple days. But a lot of kids who are getting this, they're really rather concerned. And so you have an opportunity to show them that even in the darkest night, there can be some joy. Even when things are tough, you can have some family fun. And this will give them encouragement for later on in life. So I highly recommend, take some time, play some games. We taught our kids, Old Maid, Go Fish, all that. And our 2-year-old daughter will sit there and play the game. Now, is she playing them completely correct? No, not even remotely. But the other night we brought my dad over and we played charades. And we love charades at our house. It's a fun little quick game that we play. And the kids played it, and there was Glorianne pretending to be, a lion or something like that. And each of the kids, and it's a great way for kids to hear from you and see from you that we can have some fellowship, we can have some fun. So I would say if we had to sum all of this up right now, it would be, you can do this. For thousands of years, families have done this. They've done well. And now some of you are watching this going, listen, I'm a Pinterest mom. We make slime every morning at 3 a.m. and we make flour bread and we do all this. And there's some of you are like that, and good for you. I am super proud of you. You are amazing. All the rest of us stand in awe at your greatness, of just the ability that some people have. My sister-in-law is my wife's sister. They have that same ability where they can just do this stuff.
Well, okay, so him saying all that, you can, especially parents with young kids, if you have Play-Doh, get it out.
Yep.
The kids, our kids love it. And they'll pretend to make pizza. They'll pretend to make tons of food. And the other night they were pretending to be at a restaurant and they were taking orders.
Yep.
And they love it. They love stuff like that. And our youngest, who is 2, loves not only Play-Doh, but she loves playing hide and go seek.
Yep.
I mean, it's a blast to watch her because, she's hiding in the obvious spot ever. And
yep.
It's just fun. Do stuff like that. And growing up, my mom used to have us help her make cookies, which
we do with our kids.
Exactly.
Every night we have our kids help us make dinner right now because they're home. They're stuck. So teach them these things. Sit down, show them how to do the stuff. Give them some real world experience. Help them out, because this is what's going to help them get through this. And we're serious. You can do this. This is not rocket science. Because I think sometimes some of us get overwhelmed because we see some of these parents who are on TV, reality TV or something, and they have they got up at 2 a.m. and they did all stuff. And by the way, some people can do that. Some people, maybe you're more like us, where we're good. But there are moments where we're sitting there going, and you did what? How did you do that?
Yeah.
And so have things set up. Schedule some things for our family, we exercise every day. And my wife and I, we found on some YouTube channels, some exercise videos that are free. We have a Prime Video that we have at our house, and we turn that on, and our kids exercise every day, 30, 40 minutes. You want to get them wore out for bed, have them do jumping jacks. We had karate videos we turn on for them, and they're all free, they're all accessible, and they're things that you can do with your family to help them. And then every night, as we said at the very beginning, we finish out with doing devotions. And we talk about the goodness of God. Right now we're going through all the battles in the Bible. And so I recommend you just go through and say, well, I don't know where to start in that. A great Bible coloring book would be a great thing. Some other Bible devotional book would be a great thing. But maybe the best thing for you, because I have none of those, well, just go in the Bible and look in the Bible, and in your own devotions, find a story about Jesus that makes sense to you.
Yep.
And then just tell the kids the story. Or if you'd like, we at our church right now, we're doing videos for kids right now every couple days, and you can let them watch those. Well, I hope this has been informative. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We will talk with you soon again, and we'll try to get my wife back in here again for another video. But we just wanted to let you know that we're praying for you, and if you need anything, please let us know. We'll look forward to seeing you again